Muslim leaders in the country have called on the government to make a stand and condemned the atrocities being committed against the Palestinian people by Israel. Speaking at JAMIA Mosque, Nairobi, the leaders led by former MANDERA Senator BILLOW KEROW said the situation in Gaza is the most tragic catastrophic witnessed during the century. So far, more than 30,000 people have been killed in Gaza following continued attack by Israel force. The Muslim leaders have called for humanitarian support to help the survivors of the ongoing genocide.
Kenya government, which is celebrating Mashujaa Day every day, cannot come out and condemn Israel, a terrorist state. A terrorist state that is settler colonialist, which has taken somebody's land by force and do not want to give them their rights.
JAMIA Mosque Nairobi, in partnership with other organizations, including the National Muslim Leaders Forum, Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya, Al-Amin Mosque and Adams Mosque, through the Voices of Palestine, have launched a pay bill number 150770 and account name Gaza, aimed at raising funds for humanitarian assistance in Gaza.
We want to call upon the people of goodwill in this country to support our humanitarian appeal to the survivors of the ongoing genocide in Gaza by contributing generously to this call. And we want to appeal to all Kenyans, Muslims and non-Muslims, to come forward and contribute. Every person who's got a conscience, a human conscience, who has humanity in his heart, must stand up to support what is going on. Again, you know, the killing of innocent women and children. Women and children are not terrorists, yet they are being killed by people who are backed by the most powerful forces countries in this world.
The initiative was unveiled through a press statement delivered at JAMIA Mosque Nairobi on Sunday, where the leaders called for urgent attention to the ongoing massacre for Palestinians by the Israeli government.
The government of Kenya has a moral obligation to stand out and condemn the atrocities being committed against the Palestinian people. It has an obligation to rally other countries to support the Palestinian people. It has an obligation to rally other countries and needs to come out openly and back cases that have been filed by many countries, in the International Court of Justice. Countries poorer than Kenya have gone to the International Court of Justice. They have withdrawn their ambassadors. They have taken action. They have spoken out. Yet Kenya government does not even allow people to demonstrate in the streets of Nairobi in support of Palestinians. That's how low this country has sunk, despite the provisions of the freedom of expression in the Constitution.
According to the statement, the Muslim leaders said Israel is employing starvation tactics as a method of warfare, with reports indicating that there have been several deaths, particularly among children and newborn, from hunger.
This chilling death and injury toll occurs amidst a deliberately imposed humanitarian crisis by the Israeli authorities upon the 2.3 million residents in Gaza. 90% of the Palestinians have been displaced from their homes, and the entire Gaza has literally been destroyed. Israel is now employing starvation as a method of warfare. And you have seen the reports in the last few days. Dozens of people have already died, particularly children, of starvation.
On Sunday, over 20 people were killed and others injured when Israeli forces bombed Palestinians waiting for humanitarian aid in the Gaza Strip. The attack came 3 days after at least 118 Palestinians were killed and 760 others injured on Thursday last week when Israeli forces bombed a crowd waiting for humanitarian aid south of Gaza City.
The situation in Gaza is undoubtedly the most tragic and catastrophic that has been witnessed in this century. Despite the incessant calls for ceasefire from the global community, including many members of the United Nations, Israel, backed by the US and its Western allies, has chosen to ignore the calls and continued with the genocide. killing, as at now, over 30,000 people. In fact, the number of those people who have been killed, those who are buried under the rubble, those who are missing, and those who have been wounded are in excess of 150,000.
The leaders have called on the Kenyan government to call for a ceasefire and a permanent peace process that provides for creation of the Palestinian state as demanded by the United Nations.
All the organs of the United Nations spoke about the genocide that's going on at the moment. International organizations that are human rights, Amnesty International, Global Watch, and so on, all of them stood up. We also appreciate very much the citizens of the Western countries, not the governments. We condemn particularly the action of American government under the leadership of Biden. He has sacrificed the lives of millions of human beings because of votes.
Israel has launched a deadly military attack on the Gaza Strip last year in October that killed at least 30,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children, with over 70,000 others injured amid mass destruction and shortages of necessities.
Regretfully, the government of Kenya has continued to bury its head in the sand with regards to Palestine up to now. When Palestinians in Gaza prison broke the fence of the prison and entered Israel and killed Israelis, Kenya was among the first countries to condemn Palestinians. But when tens of thousands of Palestinians, innocent Palestinians, who are demanding for the freedom, they are not asking for anything else, it's determination of freedom as provided for by United Nations from 1948 up to now, in hundreds of resolutions, the government of Kenya has been mute. They have been quiet. They cannot come out. They have not come out to condemn Israel the way other countries have done.
Israel stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice. An interim ruling in January ordered Tel Aviv to stop genocidal acts, to take measures to guarantee that humanitarian assistance is provided to civilians in Gaza. A ruling it has ignored. Reporting for Muslim Insight, my name is Mariam Musa.